All right, Cincinnati Bengals and the San Francisco 49ers. This is 4.5 in favor of the Niners at home against the Bengals. This is sitting 43.5. Full disclosure, my bet doesn't matter to you because I have a +6 on Cincinnati, which is not available and whatever. So let's just talk about this game from what we are looking at right now, which is not having the full injury, unless you guys have seen it since we've been on the air. Have we gotten the final injury report from San Francisco yet?
I'll let Steven take the lead on that with his 49ers.
I'll go look for it right now as we talk about the cap of this game.
I mean, I'm looking at it. I mean, I'm looking. We got it from Cincinnati, but we don't have it, I don't think, from San Francisco right now. And my guess is they're delaying it as long as they can to see if there's any way in the world that for the first time in 18 months that a person would be put in the concussion protocol and then come back in the same week in Brock Purdy. I looked at this as if Purdy was not playing. I can only assume you guys, as you were handicapping this as well, was also looking at this as if Purdy was not playing. Steven, am I mistaken here?
I'll just give you the latest information. It's still not 100%. Adam Schefter tweeted that the 49ers are listing Brock Purdy as questionable for Sunday's game. If he had cleared the protocol, I don't think he would be listed as questionable. That, to me, indicates that he still has a step to go. The beat reporter, Matt Barrows, about an hour before we started recording, said that Purdy practiced for the second straight day and, barring a setback, is on pace to be cleared from the concussion program on Saturday. That's where we're at. So I guess you have to wait till Saturday for official word.
All right. So he could be the first guy in 18 months to go in and out of the concussion protocol within a week. That's interesting. I still take the plus. Look. I mean, I still like my 6 on that. Let's do this as if Purdy's playing then. So if Purdy's playing, this number is going to balloon back out to kind of where it was, which is like the 5.5 to 6-ish range. I'm still fine with my 6 on Cincinnati based off of 2 different things. One of which is Deebo Samuel's still not going to be out there. We at least do know that. And with Deebo Samuel not out there, that is a major weapon that I think we've seen over the last couple of weeks has really hurt this offense. And it takes away what Shanahan is able to do from a play calling standpoint in getting really kind of wacky with some of the stuff that he does. The other part of this is if I downgrade the 49ers slightly because Deebo's not out there, I also am upgrading Cincinnati coming out of a bye. And if we believe what they have been telling us, Adam, which is that Joe Burrow has been making strides each and every week for the calf to get better and better and better and better. He now has had a week off in which he has nothing but lion's mane or whatever rubbed all over his calf and all of the exotic urine that makes everything feel great and all the things that he has been doing over the last week to get the calf ready to go in this game. T. Higgins gets a week to help the ribs, all of that. Like the Cincinnati got by at like the absolute perfect time in all this. Then getting the 6 is actually, I think, a gift because if we knew all of that, how healthy they were and everyone was great to go, then this 4.5 where we sit right now would probably be more of the number. So in all that, I'm willing to back the slight downgrade in the 49ers and the slight upgrade in the Bengals and be proven wrong if Joe Burrow's calf is still terrible and T. Higgins is still banged up and all the different things like that.
Folks, you can't just get exotic urine analysis on any football podcast out there. You've got to come to the Lions Megapod and learn about what Joe Burrow is rubbing on his calf. It's lion's mane and cheetah urine, and he's going to be ready to go come this week. The most important thing that you need to know about this game is that Cincinnati is off the bye. San Francisco is off a short week. And we talked last week about the one and only trend that we like to look at, and that's the rest situation. And as Matt just said, not only is it rest, it's injury rest for the Cincinnati Bengals. Not only is it Joe Burrow, it's T. Higgins, as you mentioned. And so with Kansas City covering last week against the Chargers, that trend going back to 2013 against the spread for teams with 10 or more days against teams with 6 or less days of rest, that trend is now 17, 6-2 against the spread. So think about it this way. First of all, most importantly, I like Cincinnati. I liked Cincinnati from the jump in this game with them getting a little bit healthier. What do you think is going to happen if Brock Purdy comes into this game, right? You're going to get more points, right? This is going to bounce back up to 5.5, maybe even 6. Great. So if you liked Cincinnati in the first place, then wait and get more points. If you think this is playable anywhere over a field goal, and I do, then if the news comes out that Sam Darnold's in, yeah, it's going to push down to 3.5, but it's probably not going to push down to 3 because at that point, you're going to see a lot of people come in on San Francisco if this thing gets down to 3, just based on the uncertainty around Burrow. So I think you can play Cincinnati either way because, as we well know, Matt, yes, I would much rather have the 6 than I would have the 4, but anywhere from 3.5 to 5.5, it's just not all that different.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's why if this thing does bounce back up, guys, and this gets back up to where it was at the beginning of the week at 5.5, it's worth playing an expensive 6, right? Like we're talking about that 20% of games land on 3, 6, or 7, right? Like, so like 1 in every 5 games lands on 3, 6, or 7, 6 being the third highest key number that there is in the NFL, 5 being like a completely dead number if it is. So that's why I was happy to pay the 118 for the 6. If you can pay less than 10 cents, if whatever book you're at or whatever that goes about it, like to get to that 6, I would highly recommend that. It's worth the money if you're getting off the 5.5 to the 6, if you're paying that little of a price. So something to do as you continue to shop around with everything. But Steven, I know you like the 49ers a ton. You followed the 49ers a ton. If we look at this squad, I think you would at least agree. Without Debo out there, I'm not going to say the offenses look clunky. I will say, though, that there's stuff that they can't do when he is out there that maybe has maybe just ever so slightly taken away from some of the explosiveness.
I feel about my favorite offense, the 49ers, the same way I feel about the Dolphins offense. If you take one of the big pieces away, then it becomes tougher. You cannot tell me that you have a ton of confidence in an offense that threw the ball 12 times to Jawan Jennings and Ray McLeod last week. Like, that's not ideal. Trent Williams, their left tackle, is officially questionable for this game, too. We have no idea if he's going to play. That's a huge deal here as well. If he doesn't play, I would feel really, really bad about the 49ers being competitive and winning this game. Let's make sure we cover the other side here, because this would be a shock based on recent concussion protocol history if Purdy plays. If he doesn't play and it's Sam Darnold, I don't think it's a downgrade. If you look at Sam Darnold's advanced metrics last year in Carolina, they were actually pretty strong. And now you give him Kyle Shanahan, I'd feel pretty good about that if they're going to get protection against Cincinnati. So the only side I like here is if Darnold plays and it goes all the way down to 2.5 for the Niners, which I don't think is going to happen. Yeah. So it's a moot point for me. I will say one angle here that I think is interesting, and it's the market for the number 1 seed in the NFC. If the Niners lose this game, which could be very possible with the rest advantages you guys talked about and how banged up the Niners are, that would now be 3 losses for the 49ers. The Eagles have a murderer's row coming up against the Chiefs, Bills, Niners, Cowboys twice, Seattle. That's brutal. The Lions are plus 650 to get the number 1 seed in the NFC and have a very easy schedule the rest of the way. So that's one angle here related to this Niners game that I would be looking at.
I think that's good to bring up. If you want to, and so in a tangentially, since I didn't bring this up in the a little bit earlier, tangentially, if you want to back Jalen Hurts in the MVP market, now is the time to do it, because let me tell you, if they win those games, if they that stretch of games that Steven just mentioned, if they're winning those games, he's going to go down to he's going to be a minus favorite to win the MVP. He's going to be minus 150 or something like that to win the MVP. And so you're not going to get a better number than you have today, basically, is what I'm saying. And if you think they have success.
Yeah. Well, the best part of that, Matt, is that if you play it now on Jalen Hurts, he gets short, and then somehow he flops down the stretch. You know what's going to happen to the Patrick Mahomes number while Jalen Hurts goes down? It's going to get longer, and then you can come right back in on some Mahomes, and you'll be covered.
Yep, it'll play these awards things like a market, guys. It's okay to have 3 or 4 different tickets so long as they're all working in conjunction to make you some money at the end. Don't get in a position where you can't make any money when you have multiple tickets. But there are ways to certainly manipulate the markets with things like that.